Hello everyone, this is LW Gaming and welcome to a returning installment, or I should say global version of this installment of the previous one I did for the CM version. But this time I'm going to be talking about this for global side of things. So the next update we'll be getting is Elvis and Reah's major update. And if you guys haven't guessed, this major update will be arriving earlier than expected because the current major update we have with Abishai and Lukman were somewhat shorter than what I've expected. So keep in mind when I went to like the banners, the banner dates, they may change for any reason. So just watch out for that. I'll let you guys know if there are any changes for those dates because right now it is currently uncertain if they're gonna move the update day to like Sunday or something because that's a day when our current major update with Abishai and Lukman is gonna end. So yeah, we better keep a close eye on what dates are ending, like when they'll be going and when they'll be staying. So we'll keep an eye out for that one because it's currently uncertain when they're going to be available. And the day of this recording is on September 21st, 2025. I'm planning to release this to everyone on the 24th of September, which is a few days from today. So yep, I'm gonna be releasing this earlier than expected, just to accommodate with Global's timing, of course. I did ask Almeida about the release timing, whether this is like an error or something, but no, they did it intentionally because they knew that since they gathered the sales data for this update in CN, not many people liked it because self-explanatory because the major update that we have right now is double male, and you can already tell something might be off about that because for one, most players are interested in female heroes. So yeah, since this update is like double male, it's not gonna draw in a lot of money as it should have. But anyways, that's why they're shortening this major update just by a few days, of course. So let's talk about the first new hero since I'm just talking about this long intro, so let's get right into it. So first off we're going to talk about is Elvis, one of the two new heroes coming to the game. And I gotta say, he can be a powerhouse of everything. So his factions, he is part of Legion's Glory, Dark Reincarnation, as well as Meteor Strike. So yep, we got another Dark Reincarnation unit. So yep, Dark Reincarnation is gonna eat well tonight, I guess. His classes, he's Demon and Flyer class, and the infos that you are seeing here are available in my own server, which is Langwiki. The link can be found in the description. And anyways, let's talk about what his talent does. So his talent is called Abyss of the Damned, which is the CN translation, by the way. This may be called differently, but if I'm lucky enough, this may just stick with the official global translation. So we have to see how this goes because sometimes it's a hit or miss when it comes to translation stuff. Because sometimes I do get them very accurate, while other times they're just right, but not exactly the right words to do it. So you get what I mean. So anyways, the talent that he has is that increases his attack by 10, 15, 20, or 25% depending on the star level. 3 stars, which is 10%, 6 stars at 25. At the end of the action, if Elvis stands in the danger zone, he'll gain Ignore Guard when actively attacking, and Death Pack is the other buff he'll get as well, and which will basically makes him not able to be attacked, targeted by enemies' normal attacks or skills. This effect is removed when taking damage or actively entering combat. When removed this way, Elvis can act again, and buff duration do not decrease. All effects can't be dispelled and last for 1 turn. And there's more. The extra action effect can only trigger once per map, which is not once per map, once per turn, I mean. For fairness, of course. And the trigger cooldown is at the end of action effect while in danger zone can be procced again after 4 to 2 turns. And once again, this on scales depending on star level. It'll be a 4-turn cooldown if you are 3 stars, but at 5 or 6 stars, it'll be a 2-turn cooldown. So the best use of him is that he needs to be at 5 stars to be able to use most of his capabilities. So just keep that in mind when you're using him. And let's talk about what unique skills he has. So he has 3 unique skills. The 1C skill is his passive. It's called Soul Devouring Pact. And the passive on this one is that after actively killing an enemy, Elvis restores 50% of his HP and gains 3 dispellable buffs effects from the enemy. So basically, if he's able to kill them, he'll be able to like inherit those 3 random buffs for himself, which is pretty neat. And also pretty dangerous, especially if he got the buffs that are like pretty strong. Yeah, that is gonna make him really dangerous to deal with. And the 2C skill he has is called Soul Break Slash. It's a range attack, by the way. This one attacks a single enemy, dealing 1.5 times damage. After combat, the enemy is afflicted with active skill Silence for 2 turns. If the attack was not guarded for whatever reason, then before combat, the enemy is inflicted with stun for 1 turn. When equipped with melee soldiers, they will also attack, and this one is not affected by melee damage penalty. So yep, even though this is treated as a range skill, you can technically use it as a melee skill as well. So, but you won't get punished for doing close combat with this skill, so keep that in mind. And finally, we have the 3C skill called Eternal Nightfall. This is the same principle as the 2C skill with the range attack capabilities. And there's a passive in the skill. It's called like whenever Elvis's HP is at 100% or full, he gains mobility +2 and AoE damage taken minus 80%. So yep, this one is actually pretty nuts. So like as long as he's like 100% healthy, he's gonna be able to move further than he normally would, and his AoE damage taken capabilities is reduced by 80%. So that means if you're trying to AoE him, it is not going to be effective because he's just gonna tank that hit like there's no tomorrow. And then now the active part of this skill is that this will attack one enemy, dealing 1.7 times damage. If the target is eliminated, Elvis will gain Ignored Guard when actively attacking, and Death Pack. And both cannot be dispelled whatsoever, and this will last for 1 turn. If this attack was not guarded, damage dealt is increased by 30%, and after combat, all of Elvis's damage skills have their cooldowns reduced by 1 turn. When equipped with melee soldiers, they will also attack, and this is not affected by melee damage penalty. So I gotta say, this 3C is insane. After you kill the enemy, he's gonna be able to guard ignore the next target he attacks, as well as and also Death Pack, which is his unique buff, which will doing a lot of things in there, like something you would normally gain if you end your turn at danger zone. Both of them actually. But this will be gained after you kill the enemy, which is much easier to do because he will not be able to target it when he's under the Death Pact effect. So if you see Elvis on the field, yeah, good luck surviving against him. But, well, of course there are ways you can counter him, but just be careful of his act again, because if he activates that while in PvP, some things could happen, which I don't know if it's a good or bad thing, because it could be bad for you, because for one, it grants him acting if he gets hit while in the Death Pack form. Just watch out for that. Oh, come on. Okay, there it goes. Now let's move on to the next part of this, is that what bonds does Elvis have, and what will he do for others' bonds? So for himself, he needs Tabris for his defense bond, and for his attack bond, he needs to upgrade his class to Flyer, like his final class at least. And as for the other characters for him, is that he does not need anyone else for bonds. Well, at least for now. As you can see here, it's pretty easy to do. You just need to get Tabris, and then you can use him in full capabilities, as well as getting him to Flyer class, which is his best class, by the way, for him. Although I was thinking to myself, who will build Demon for him? Like, his mobility isn't great as a Demon, but as a Flyer, you will be able to move really far, including the 3C effect that I mentioned earlier. Oh man. And now let's talk about what uses he has for if you end up getting him. So anyways, his uses in PvE, he is a great unit that can help clear contents with the advantages of not being targetable, which is a key factor because most of the time, like I remember in the beginning when the Shine Resonance Sonya got introduced, the untargetable mechanic doesn't really work in PvE, but I mean not really like untargetable, but rather like force targeting only Sonya, something like that. But I mean, of course, it's not the same thing, but you get what I mean. So having another unit with like the ability of like not being targetable is awesome. But I mean, I think Tsubame also already have that with the stealth mechanic. So yeah, that might not be the first for sure. But Elvis being the next one or the new one to be able to like give himself like stealth capabilities is actually pretty huge for that setting because you don't have to worry about enemies being attacking you unless they have AoEs that can splash you. So beware of that. And as for PvP, he is good in this setting. With the untargetable buff and guard ignore will make him dangerous. However, he is not invincible against AoE. Same thing in PvE settings. But however, in doing so, if he is get hit this way, he's gonna get act again, which is only once per turn. So, yeah. Think of him like Androle but on steroids. I mean, of course, he's not really like that, but you get what I mean. This is just an exaggeration. And is he worth it, by the way? It could go either way. If you really like Elvis as a character, then yes, pull for him. But if you already have a lot of good units in your arsenal and doesn't need additional units, then you're okay to skip him if you don't feel like to, because Elvis he's a bit like a 50-50 of like whether it'll make you like a really good in Apex or doesn't really give you much value. So yeah, it goes either way, whether you prefer it to summon. But if you like the character, then yeah, summon for it. If not, you can just pass his unit here because you don't really need him for anyone else's bonds for now, at least. And next up we got is Reah. Yep, and I gotta say, a lot of people are anticipating her arrival because of how good she is with her talent and everything. So let's talk about what Reah has. So Reah's factions are Legion of Glory, Strategic Maskers, and Meteor Strike. Similar to our Elvis's faction choices, except instead of Dark Incarnation, she's a Strategic Master. And she has Flyer and Infantry class. And just like Elvis, I believe her best class is Flyer. And by the way, the info is already available in Langwiki just like Elvis, so if you want to look at it for yourself on your own time, you can join my server and then take a look at those info. And of course, I'll update them accordingly whenever they arrive to global. Because right now they're currently in the CN translated words, not like the official global ones. So just keep an eye out for the updates whenever they're available. So the talent that she has is called Radiance of Dawn. It increases her attack and defense by 10 to 25% depending on star level. And when using an active skill, she gains Radiant Brilliance, which is her unique stack. And this will basically makes her immune to and reflects active skill silence. And this will last for one turn and cannot be dispelled. And each time Radiant Brilliance is gained again, its duration is refreshed and its maximum duration increases by one turn, up to a max of 5 turns. If the skill hits an enemy and deals damage, the duration of all buffs on self will not decrease, and Reah can move an additional 3 blocks and attack again. And the trigger cooldown on this is that the extra action effect can only be triggered once every 4 to 2 turns. Just like Elvis, this Reah would need like 4 turns at minimum to be able to use this again, or at 5 or 6 stars, she would just need 2 turns. So what do I think about her as a unit on the field? I would say yeah, she is a good candidate of the meta edition because for one, she has a unique thing that she has that nobody else does. Well, technically, if you count Elma's the debuff reflector, something like that. But this one is a specific one that reflects. So the one that I'm talking about is the active skill silence. So as long as she has Radiant Brilliance that she has as a stack, she's gonna be able to get immune to that and then reflect it back at the attacker. Which honestly, that sounds really insane on paper. And this will last for 1 turn, by the way. So use it wisely, because the Radiant Brilliance does not stay forever. But however, if you're able to gain this again in the course of having this on you, its duration will be refreshed, and then it will increase its duration by 1 more turn. So, however, if you end up getting something like this repeatedly, you get a maximum of 5 turns on there, which is absolutely nuts. So the more she stays on the field with this stack, the longer this stack stays, as long as she's continuously getting this, which is absolutely nuts. And now let's talk about the skills that she comes with. So you may notice there are 4 skills, right? Well, technically there are only 3, but however, one of them is a transforming skill. Well, what I mean transforming skill is that the skill itself will change after use. So just keep that in mind. So anyways, the 1C skill she comes with is a Oath of Eternal Daylight. It's a 4-turn cooldown, self-cast ends a single target. And then what this does is that it is an active use to gain Oath of Eternal Day. When using AoE skills, the skill range is increased by 1 and lasts for 2 turns, and cannot be dispelled. If Reah has no debuffs, she can act again after use, with mobility equal to the remaining mobility when the skill was used, and can attack again. After using the skill, the duration of existing buffs will not decrease. Yeah, that sounds like it's like a self act again on here, which will allow her to be able to have whenever she uses AoE skills, her range is going to be much bigger than normal. So yeah, which will make her really menacing to deal with. And by the way, even though Reah is pretty strong on its own, initially I thought she's single target madness, but no, she's more like an AoE specialist, as far as I'm seeing here. So her 2C skill called Blade of Dustbreaker Flash, it has no cooldown, and has 3 blocks of range and 3 line AoE. So it's 3x3 block radius. But however, if you had that one buff that I mentioned earlier from the 1C, it's gonna be moved into 4 blocks instead of 3 blocks, which is a 4x3 area. Attacks all enemies in 3 straight lines, dealing 0.15 times AoE damage, and inflicts armor effect disabled, excluding max HP, for 2 turns. If the target is non-player hero, the effect is replaced with defense minus 25% for 2 turns. After using this skill, it switches to the Dark Rim Blade. I think it's called Blade of Dustbreaker, not that. I mean, it's just the translation error on my part, but yeah, it's just the next version of the skill. It's like a verdict. The verdict skill, which is the other one. And now let's talk about the 2C skill called the Blade of Dustbreaker Verdict. It's the same stats, except this is a 1-line AoE. Attacks all enemies in a straight line, dealing 0.15 times AoE damage. When attacking, teleports to the farthest block within the skill range, and automatically casts Sword Dance. After use, this skill switches to Blade of Dustbreaker Flash. If this skill hits an enemy, gain 1 stack of Radiant Brilliance, which is her unique talent buff, by the way. And finally, let's talk about her 3C, called Convergence of Starry Rainbow. It's a 5-turn cooldown, self-cast, 1-ring AoE. The passive on this part is that when having Radiant Brilliance buff, Reah attacks first before the enemy. After combat, Reah recovers 20% of damage dealt as HP. And the physical part on this one is that it deals 0.36 times AoE damage to all enemies within 1 ring of herself. Before dealing damage, for each turn of Radiant Brilliance duration, Reah steals 1 random buff from all enemies hit up to a max of 3. If the duration is 5 turns or more, change the max duration of Radiant Brilliance to 1 turn and gains the effect after dealing damage. Causes enemies with less than 50% HP to die immediately. Lasts for 2 turns, which cannot be dispelled. In PvE mode, this effect is replaced with deals fixed damage equal to 20% of enemies' lost HP, which can be immune up to 5 times of Reah's attack. So yeah, that part is pretty dangerous for PvP, because if you guys, in case you guys kind of missed it, so like if she has the Radiant Brilliance is it's like 5 turns or more, she's going to be able to change the max duration of Radiant Brilliance to 1 turn, and also gain the effect of after dealing damage, causes the enemy with less than 50% HP to die immediately. So even though if they're like close to death, that unit is gonna die for immediately, which is absolutely nuts. And however, in PvE modes, this is not deadly, because it's PvE, not really like player versus player. So they had changed that up for a bit for PvE, which I guess that's understandable. So what do I think about the 3C on this thing? Reah is absolutely a mad unit to have. Like with the instant death on here, I think this is the second unit that they introduced with the instant death mechanic, apart from Seraphina. So now Reah is the next unit to have like an instant death on her 3C, which on its own, that sounds pretty nuts. I think Seraphina got it on her on her talent, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, next up, let's talk about the bonds. For herself, she needs Hoffman for her defense bond, and for her attack bond, she needs to upgrade her class to infantry, which it is what it is. I mean, Reah can be great for flyer, but she needs infantry for her to be able to use it fully. I mean, you're gonna build her fully anyway, so that's not gonna be an obstacle. And as for others for bonds, she is not required for anyone else for bonds, at least for now. And for the uses that she has in the game, for PvE, she is a great unit that can help clear contents with the multi-action and after using a skill. And then as for PvP, she's a strong addition to the current meta with multi-action, and also I'm going to add one more thing. She is capable of doing instant death, or under certain conditions, of course. So yeah, she is a excellent addition, by the way. Much better than Elvis, in my own opinion. And do I think she's worth it? Yes, definitely worth it. I mean, with the death mechanic like that, oh man, like she is a well worth the grab for anyone who likes to do AoE. And by the way, since she is AoE, she's gonna go well with rush teams, but also can be used for tank pushing if you preferred. But I think her team that she signs in are mostly rushes, because most of her are converting to rushes. But right now, there's still people out there still playing tank push, like myself. I am still finding a place to like try to push as a tank pusher, but other than that, she's a nice addition to have. And then as for the new SP soldiers this time around, we got 3 new SP soldiers. So we got the first one we have is Templar Knight. This is a cavalry unit. The SP soldier skill that this one has in his SP is that the end def of the soldiers are increased by 45%. When entering combat, increases attack and defense by 25%. And if the enemy is a demon, then increases attack and defense by 20% more, which will make them much dangerous on the field. So the additional heroes that can use this are Zion, Emperor Lovina, GNL or Jorleah, Lamford, and Tyrantel. Okay, next up we got is Bolt Ranger. Bolt Rangers, a lot of people really want to get this because this one is really good. When soldiers' HP is above 50%, attack and defense is increased by 20%. When attacked and forced into combat, damage taken is reduced by 50% and ignores melee damage penalty. which sounds pretty nuts on its own. Because in the initial version of this soldier, it doesn't do melee damage penalty ignore, but in this SP form, it can. And the 5 heroes that can use this additionally are Julian, Dehart, Theon, Tatalia, and Tiana. Yep, well, I think Tiana will come back. I mean, sure, she can still be usable for current meta, but I've seen a lot of people dropped her already. But I think with this soldier, this could bring her back into the meta a bit longer, I think. And last but not least, we got Holy Pegasus, the third SP soldier getting added to this update. When actively attacking, soldier's attack is increased by 30%. Damage taken is reduced by 50%. And as far as this SP upgrade is nice and all, there are no additional heroes for this one. So if you still want to get this one, then by all means get it. But you won't get any additional heroes be able to use this. So just keep that in mind when you're upgrading your SP soldiers, because sometimes you do get additional heroes that can use this, while other times you don't. Now let's move on to the next part of the video, which is the banners. So what I mentioned earlier about the banners timing, this could change at any point. So be aware of that, because right now it is uncertain whether they're going to maintain this date shown here, or they could just mix things up and then make a bit of a problem. I hope not, because this could actually mess up with my my schedule here. What I mean scheduling is that the dates that listed here, they are probably going to become irrelevant later, so just keep that in mind. So the first week we're expecting is of course the new units like Elvis and Reah. It will begin on the 28th of September and ends on the 29th of October, if this one is accurate, that is, because Zilong being Zilong, they like to change things up. On week 2, we're expecting the 3 limited units rerun here. This one featuring Awakened One, Watham, and Apotheosis. And this will start on the 9th of October, all the way to November 5th. And then alongside this, we're also expecting a Rada banner featuring Randall and Sapphirine, starting on the 9th of October, ends on the 22nd of October. Alongside that, there's also Langrisser 1-5 Heroes, which banner. And on week 3, starting on the 16th of October, we'll be featuring a Rada banner featuring Varelia and Prezia. And then and also a Destiny banner featuring Andriole, Joel and Connie, and Seraphina. And also the Witch banner for Langrisser Mobile Arc 1 and 2. And this one is going to be expiring on the end of the major update, as usual. Third week usually ends with the major update. And on the 4th week, there are 2 Destiny banners. One of them is more like a rerun of the ones that we have already, which is the Destiny banner featuring Lightbringer, Ricky, and Caroline. And then there's also the other one, which is the classic Destiny banner featuring Bozo, Liana, and Luna. And also Tensei heroes are on there too. Starting on the 23rd of October, ends on the 5th of November. So yeah, this is a pretty solid lineup here. So who are you going to summon on this major update? Although of course the dates may not be the same as what it will be shown in global. I'll keep a close eye on that. If anything changes, I'll let you guys know if I notice anything. So anyways, let's move on. What events / changes to expect in this update? So the first one we're going to look at is there's like a secret realm event going on there, which will have like a big price that you need to watch out for. Because for one, this is the one where you get either Hoffman or Tabris for free. Yes, you heard that right. The bond unlocker for the 2 heroes that we mentioned earlier, like Elvis and Reah, Hoffman and Tabris are the bond unlockers for those. But you can only choose one though. So if I were you, if you want to use Reah for a lot, I would say choose Hoffman if you don't have him. But if you're missing Tabris but you already have Hoffman, get Tabris just to fill up your collection. And then also for corresponding week, the Anarchy gyms, like all of them will be open during this time, and also Secret Realm Revival is also on there, which will allow you to do additional sweeps for additional dailies. All lost stages will be open on week 2. Same with the daily gold event on week 2. And now for the quality life changes that will be taking place in this update is that you'll be able to gain the ability of like set the amount of a batch of enchantments for your gear. So like for example, remember in the past, we're still doing that system where we need to like enchant them one at a time. Well, in this update you can enchant in multiple batches. So that means you can choose whichever you believe is best and then go from there. Pretty convenient, right? So that means you don't need to like keep like making a lot of mistakes of like choosing getting the wrong enchants and then getting something that could probably make you regret in the future. Yeah, that kind of stuff. That's a neat addition there. And also, danger mode setting can now be set on or off in settings. So, like most of the time, whenever you enter a new battle, the danger zone is always toggle off. But now they're adding this setting to your like in-game setting. This will allows everything to be much more manageable. Like for example, you can have it always on, even if you enter the battle, which is pretty nice to have. And also, they added a silent mode for a certain time. So, for example, if you don't want to be like too loud for like certain amount of time, you enable this to have your experience much streamlined for yourself, of course. Especially if you're playing this in the late midnight, which I don't recommend, because you had to sleep on that time. But I mean, the choice is up to you. Because I'm not here to judge you by that. Because honestly, if you play in midnight, then yeah, it could affect your health in some ways. But it's really based on your preference. I'm not here to stop you. Anyways, moving on. Let's look on the confession and exclusive. So the new exclusive we have in this update is for Randall. And coincidentally, Randall got a confession in the last major update, which is the one that we have right now. Now she's getting a treatment again here. This time not as a confession, but with the exclusive edition. So what this is that increases her MDEF by 10%. At the end of action, when Box Dream Descent is triggered, you can choose to consume stacks of Chaos Exempt to apply Box Dream Descent to an equal number of allies. When gaining Chaos Exempt, if the max stack limit has already been reached, the skill with longest current cooldown is reduced by 1 turn. So what do I think about this armor? This armor is really interesting because the Chaos Exempt you normally would do is that you curse your enemies with it, but with this armor, you are able to put stacks on your allies as well. But however, I don't think they'll get cursed by this, but it just allows you to be able to make her do act against, especially in the situation where if there's only one enemy left. And in that case, Randall cannot use act again in that kind of situation. So having this armor available for you enables her to do act again no matter what, which is pretty neat. And the new confession this time is Serena. So we'll be seeing the elf sister. Like how many times we brought her into the game. We brought her into Apex or any battles in general. It'll be exciting to see. Next up, we got new casting skills. So this time we got one for Joe and Connie and the other one for Ricky. So anyways, Joe and Connie, let's see what theirs do. So crit damage is increased by 15%. When using code refactoring skill, reduces the cooldown of all other skills by 2 turns. If Joa has been defeated, listen to this, Connie can resummon Joa. So yes, so basically now with this casting, Joa is going to be able to respawn, like infinitely, of course. So like if Joa ends up dying before Connie, as long as that's the case, Joa is going to keep coming back. So yeah, this will make Joa and Connie somewhat more usable for PvP, but do I think they're meta-wise? We'll just have to see because things right now is uncertain. And as for Ricky, his casting skill increases his attack and defense by 5%. When using the talent Self-Appointed Hero, when gains a command effect which will basically, when the ally unit within the hero's facing direction take range damage, deals fixed damage equal to 1 times of Ricky's attack to the source of the damage. So yeah, Ricky is slowly becoming Hoffman, or yeah, something like that. So like Ricky is gonna be able to do something that's much more than he normally would do. So like as long as you're looking at the direction where your allies are at and they take range damage, Ricky's gonna be able to dish out fixed damage on them as long as they're not immune to it. So what do I think about these two additions? I would say they're pretty solid, but as for Joan Connie, that is interesting, to say the least. And also, fortunately for all of you, if you have been logging in like daily, like without missing a single day, you can actually get Joan Connie for free. So you don't need a summon or anything. You can just wait for them to come to you for free, for like after logging in for 60 days. So if you can do that, Joan Connie is yours as a freebie. Pretty nice, don't you think? So basically, everyone's gonna be able to get Joan Connie, as long as they log in, of course. And before we go, there's something I'd like to talk about regarding the next major update after Elvis and Reah, because this was huge for any of you who are a fan of certain series. And you might be thinking, oh no, what is it? Well, the next major update is going to be a collab major update featuring Fairy Tail. Yes, that's right, it's that time again. The collaboration with Fairy Tail is upon us. And you know what that means? Save your crystals and vouchers, because these units are actually excellent to have in your team, especially they're from a famous anime series, Fairy Tail. And also, let's not get started with like the next collab, which it has confirmed but not available to know yet, which is the next one. I believe they're doing collab with Atelier Ryza 3, which is pretty interesting because I do know a bit of that series, but haven't played their game for whatever reason. But do I really want to play their game? I don't know. I know it's similar to like RPG style kind of game, but I'm not really like interested for like getting like another game added to my channel. I mean, it's nice to have, but it's just that I have no plans of doing that right now, because I have two games I need to cover for like consoles at least. Like I have one that's for Langrisser 1 and 2 remake, and the other one is Trails in the Sky FC remake. Yep, two game titles I had to like record there, but of course these two are going to be recorded through my phone, which is not ideal for long term. But I mean, what can I do? I mean, it's a budget friendly option for me. So anyways, that's it for this video. So hope you all find this video helpful or informative. And let me know in the comments if you're going to plan to summon for any of them, or you can just do it in the community poll of like vote your choices here. And let me know in the comments if you're going to summon here or not, because Fairy Tail is a big thing for some of you. I know Mythos Z or Zebito is a fan of Fairy Tail, so he is well on board of getting collab. And also that's the reason why he came back to Langrisser to begin with. And yes, you heard that right. If you've been living under a rock or anything, Mythos Z or Zebito, he has returned to record Langrisser content once again. And that's not the only thing he'll be covering, because he's also going to be covering other titles too. Like maybe he may try to cover something like Expedition 33 or something, but we'll have to see. It may not be that, but it's something else. But I'm just glad that he came back though. So anyways, that's it from me. See y'all next time.